Did everybody say hello? What was that again?
Hello, and I'm sorry. I got so excited about the gobbling turkeys. I forgot my intro. All right, hello, and welcome to Turkey Chats. We're so excited you're here. We hope you're as ready to gobble up some turkey facts as we are. Can you tell I've been on the road a few days? My words aren't working, right?
Yeah.
Well, we could not be more excited to welcome special guest Max Stone today and talk about Narragansett turkeys. We also have the wonderful poultry expert, Jeanette Behringer, here to talk to us as well. And my name is Brittany Sweeney. I'm the communications manager with the Livestock Conservancy. Jeanette, do you want to introduce yourself and Mac?
Yeah, so I'm a senior program manager here at the Conservancy, and it's my pleasure to co-host Turkey Month and next month Goose Month. Yay! And we like to bring a variety of folks in, and I'm so pleased to introduce you to Max Stone from Elmwood Farm. And as it so happens, we were at his farm just yesterday morning. It seems like so long ago. We were picking up some Narragansett turkeys that they graciously donated for Mount Vernon so they could get started with their breeding program. And, Mac, thank you again so much for donating those birds. They're so excited to get them. And once we've got all their health paperwork in line, we're going to take a drive up and bring them to their new forever home. But they're lovely birds. And today we're here to talk about Narragansett turkeys, which on Elmwood Farm seems to be the breed that works the best for them. And Mac, you want to talk a little bit about the farm and what you do there, and then we can dive into turkey questions.
Great, thank you. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to be here. Nice to meet you all yesterday. It does seem like a long time ago. So my wife and her brother grew up here on Elmwood Stock Farm. They went off to college, studied abroad, came back home, said, "Dad, we want to farm with you." So now, in order for the same footprint of land to support 3 families, not the original one, diversified into lots of different things. Most of what we do at Elmwood is vegetables. We have a sizable CSA farmers market presence in Lexington and Cincinnati, and then some local restaurants and whatnot. We also have pastured beef. My brother-in-law John raises the beef, and in fact he hits choice with most all of his grass-fed beef. And actually had 2 prime this year. So it's taken years and years of a breeding program to get the frame scores down a little bit, to finish on grass a little better. Doing a phenomenal job. He's has a few pigs and on pasture. And I raised laying hens, broilers, sheep, and we do both broad-breasted turkeys and heritage turkeys. Everything that we do is certified organic.
Yeah, that's fabulous. And as you were saying yesterday, this time of year, the rock stars of the farm are obviously the turkeys. So how did you find yourself raising Narragansetts, and how did you build your program with the Narragansetts?
So back in the day, I can't even imagine. It's one of those things you don't write stuff down because you know you're going to remember it, and then you don't remember it. Wished I had. But maybe 12 or 15 years ago, we started with some broad-breasted turkeys. We raised like 20 and it about killed us kind of thing. And customers were liking them. We were getting familiar with that. We'd been hearing about these heritage breeds at different farmer conferences and whatnot. And lo and behold, we have a customer of ours here in Lexington that had some, just as a hobby in her backyard at a little horse farm. And she gave us we bought some poult from her. There were some bourbon reds, Narragansett, Royal Palm, and Gray Slate in the mix. So we reared those up, then got eggs out of them the next year. We harvested a few just to taste them and whatnot. and our customers loved them. So we just kept raising more and deciding how many to harvest and how many to keep back for breeding. To where this year we hatched about 400 eggs, I guess, mostly Narragansett. Narragansetts have kind of moved themselves to the top of the heap, just in their performance and their sturdiness and just aggressive eating growth habits. But I just love the personality. We still do some broad-breasted because customers like them, but anybody that's around here knows how much the heritage sort of just steal the show.
Yeah, and you were saying that you actually ship birds all across the country at this point, that, people are really liking your Narragansetts.
We are. Today is actually shipping day. It's 1 week. By the time customers get them tomorrow, overnight delivery, it'll be 1 week before Thanksgiving, so they can put it right in their fridge. So today we got a big crew that's doing the shipping and the whole dry ice thing. It is remarkable. We're pretty nervous with all this supply chain conversation, but tomorrow we'll be getting text messages or email messages that all of a sudden the birds that are here at 6 o'clock this afternoon will be in California and Connecticut and Florida and everywhere. It's just, but it's really been really rewarding to us how many people that once they try the heritage turkey, they stay with it year after year.
Wow.
Yeah, it really is worth the wait and worth the price, because there's really just no way around it with the flavor. And a lot of folks get kind of shocked by the price tag, but part of what we have to educate people about is it takes a lot to raise a turkey to market weight, that your average commercial bird takes maybe 18 weeks, but for a heritage bird, you're going up to 28 weeks, which that's a lot of feed for a big bird.
It is. And it's so funny though, when they're babies in the brooder room, it's funny, you'll see these little coms that are about 6 inches tall. They're already strutting their wings and acting bad, and so it's a labor of love to raise them and watch them grow up.
Yeah. Now, there are many turkey producers in the area. I understand you're right next to Bourbon County, Kentucky. You had mentioned trying out Bourbon Reds for that reason, but they didn't quite work for you. Are there other folks in the area that are raising turkeys, or are you the only person that's breeding and raising them?
There's a couple other farms, organic farms, friends of ours in the extended neighborhood, if you will, 7,500 mile radius that are doing it, the broad-breasted. Really, I don't know of anybody else doing heritage of any scale for Thanksgiving sales. I'm sure there's a few around that are doing showbirds and whatnot. But yeah, we're a little bit of an island. They're at Kentucky State University in Frankfort. They have a program there, and Steve that runs that program, he's has some heritage and has some flocks in the neighborhood around there that he helps people raise, but there's not a lot.
Yeah, and how many birds are you shipping out this year?
160 or something at last count.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot.
That's amazing.
A lot of work. So tell me, how do you manage the turkeys? Like from when they're poults, you're managing a lot of turkeys. So tell me step by step, how do you manage them on the farm?
Sure. So just this past winter, I renovated. So in Kentucky, we have a lot of tobacco barns, and if you've driven through and see, there's a little, usually a concrete block room off one corner of the barn called the stripping room. It's where you take the tobacco down and you get it in a smaller space and you strip the leaves off. But we have converted our tobacco stripping room into a brooder, fully insulated concrete floor. Just this year, I called QC Supply and said, I want the same heater and ventilation system that the big barns use. I just need the littlest one you got, because my room is like 20 by 18 or something. So I put in a nice thermostatically controlled propane heater with a ventilation fan that comes on. Then we have boxes, 4 foot wide. I can just dividers that can be whatever length up to that 22 feet. So depending on how many birds and what size they are, we can keep them in those in that box. Then we call the nursery. When they graduate out of there, they get big enough, 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. Then they move into the nursery, which was an open, more of a flight type pen with netting to where they can start learning to fly and carry on before they go outside, depending on the weather, about 6 weeks. When they go out, we have field pens, open houses on old running gears. And then we use, we're premier people, so we have premier netting around the perimeter. We have had some coyote problems, so we actually have to put double nets around. They're about 2 feet apart because the coyote won't jump in the middle and can't jump all the way over. So that's been kind of a pain, but it's what it takes to do it. I have a water system, just a little spaghetti tubing that runs and snakes around the ground to a bell water that hangs on the house for water. And we use a golf cart to take feed twice a day. Mm-hmm. Then those houses, that whole house structure and the netting moves about once a week to fresh grass, so they're always clean.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. So I imagine you have relatively few problems with the birds then, with them having such a great setup. Is there anything that pops up that's a challenge for you from time to time?
So the biggest challenge when they're small is still aerial predators. There are times we have to use some bird netting to deflect. My wife and I were at the beach having an adult beverage several years ago, and we looked up and they had the fishing string across the top of the bar. Mm-hmm. And I asked, and the waitress said, well, it's to keep the birds out. And my wife and I looked at each other, well, duh, we could do that. So at times we just use fishing string and make like a spider web of sorts from the netting up to the eave of the house. And mm-hmm. that does pretty good at keeping aerial predators out. Just a pain when you have to move it once a week.
Yeah, I've got similar in my chicken coops. I've got wire running across the top because I've got all these trees where the coops are, and if I put netting, it catches all the leaves and with the wire, and I just do 6-inch intervals, and all the leaves, the branches fall through. But unfortunately, I got a gap in my wire a couple of weeks ago, and for the first time in well over a decade, I had a hawk get in and get a couple of my hens. So everybody's locked in till I can redo the wire again this weekend. But it works really, really well. And it's inexpensive. And my coops aren't mobile, so it's not as big a problem, but moving. But so. Well,
the boy that works for me figured out he can unhook the fishing string at one end and then puts a little dowel pin on the end of a cordless drill and then just bzz, 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 and it just rolls up the fishing string standing in one spot. And then it makes it easy to put it back out. But
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's helpful.
So one of the biggest challenges with heritage turkeys and marketing them is educating your customer. So, if you're talking to a person that's new to heritage turkeys and they don't have any customer base that they, is already there for them, can you walk people through how do you develop that customer base and how do you educate them so that they have a positive experience with the birds they're buying from you?
So that's a great question. And it built over many, many years. Because we didn't try to grow the flock too fast, we allowed the we would always raise more than the year before, but not tremendously more. So we at the farmers market, we were kind of anchor tenant at our farmers market. We do a lot of education. And some people would say we do more education than marketing. But so we made the decision years ago. Well, we tried on the corollary of the Red Rangers, the Freedom Rangers on the broiler side. And they just looked scrawny and they were more expensive. And we were already charging such a high dollar for our organic broilers that we decided we were going to stay with the Cornish cross on the broilers. But these turkeys, because we had raised them, we loved raising them. We wanted people to want to like these turkeys. And frankly, turkey is the one thing that people are not as price sensitive as a day-to-day item like a chicken. Mm-hmm. So we went with that. And by having our loyal customers that we would say, try these, frankly, it was word of mouth. But we do a lot of handouts. Our website has page after page of differences about the birds. We make no bones that they look different. The meat is more dark meat. Of course, that turns some people off right away. But we just state what it is and answer any questions and all the details. And then when they hear some of the husbandry side of it, it convinces them that that's why they would like to support an organic, pasture-raised heritage bird. That's like the top of the pyramid of the best. And they want to support us because we're so excited, then they kind of try to get excited along with us.
That's a great strategy. And
we send out with every turkey that goes out. Internally, we called it a toe tag, but externally, it's our little marketing paper that describes how to cook it, how to thaw it, what to do. Here's the differences. The first year we did it, and they, some of them have the dark pigmentation, the spots from the feathers, and our phone started ringing on Thanksgiving Day. Turkey farmers do not want their phone ringing on Thanksgiving Day. My turkey's got mold on it. My turkey's bruised. My turkey's got, whatever. And at first we were like, what are they talking about? What's going on? What are they talking about? And finally we figured out what people were seeing. So that started us down this path of, it's a 2-page handout that goes with each and every turkey so that they can call before Thanksgiving, or everything they need to know is in that document, so that they're empowered. And that's helped a lot.
Yeah, is that document on your website?
I don't go to my website very often, so I don't know, but probably.
Well, it might be something that some of the viewers might be interested in seeing.
I think it's all the information is there, not just the condensed version, that the handout version.
Yeah.
But all the same information would be there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's so brilliant, putting it together in one place for everybody to get your questions out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you get to hold back a bird or two for yourselves for Thanksgiving?
Well, funny you ask. Yesterday, my sister that lives nearby said, you're all out of broad-breasted. And I said, I've heard that we are, yes. And she said, I said, get a heritage. And she said, well, you've only got the big ones left. And I said, okay. She ended up buying the last one. And I said, I may not even get one. So unless there's a mistake in the inventory somewhere, well, truthfully, we do hold one back. There's usually a couple that get damaged in the processor, missing a wing or something. So those are the ones we eat.
Yeah. And wow. I so often hear farmers that, they sell everything and have nothing left for themselves because, it's only once or twice a year, Now, you said you hold some back for Christmas as well?
So some of the birds, the smaller ones, the later hatch that hadn't quite sized up yet. So I'll describe loading turkeys, the heritage turkeys. That's kind of an adventure in itself. And frankly, it took years to figure out a good way for the bird health. But I lost my train of thought. So
loading turkeys.
Yeah, we can go there. So heritage turkeys fly, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes, they
cattle
do.
trailers,
As we
cattle
found out
trailers are only-
yesterday.
yeah, and cattle trailers are only so big. So we back the cattle trailer up to the netting. And our birds this year, there's a group of about 300 of them at one point. Then we take some farm gates, 16-foot farm gates, and make like a funnel away from the mouth of the trailer. Then we take PVC, like 10-foot tall, and bird netting and make a tunnel out of the funnel. And then we get several of us, and we can ease about half of them up into the tunnel, if you will. Then it's encourage them to fly in, and don't let that get in. Get there. Don't let them out. Get that one. And then when we get the right amount in there, we're able to close the door, and the turkeys are just like looking around, like, "Huh, I've never been in here. This is different." But yeah, and they're just as calm as they can be. They're not excited. They don't care that they're locked in a trailer. But the one thing I'd like people to know, and this took me years, and maybe other people have known it forever, but I looked at crates, and because the first few years when I was doing like 50 or 60 or 70, they would still pile up at the front of the trailer during transport, and I had some suffocation problems. So I was deciding dividers. So I put some dividers in, or they just flew over the dividers and all of that. And I looked at crates and what size they were, and I couldn't imagine putting 100 heritage turkeys into plastic crates. I just couldn't imagine doing that very efficiently. So what we've done is at the cattle trailers, I think it's 22 foot, the front half of it, we take hay bales. Can you see my hands? I can talk with my hands. I need to get my hands in the picture here. We took 2 hay bales on edge across the very front of the trailer, then 2 on edge in the middle of that section, and 2 on edge at the gate in the middle of it, with a divider between the bales of hay made out of wood, then a custom made gate, if you will, that lays down over top of that. So when we get all the birds into the trailer, we take about 40 or 50 into the front half, kind of divide them up into those 4 compartments made by the hay bales and the divider, like 6 or 8 or 10 in each section, the size of a turkey crate. Then when you put the gate down and put a bunch more birds in there on top, because of the lath of the gate, the turkeys can't crowd at the front. They kind of claim their roosting spot, so they evenly stay spread out across the front, across the top of those gates. So we get about 40 or so underneath, then another 40 or 50 on top of that, and then however many in the back. We have a similar kind of thing in the back, but not as elaborate. So we essentially have no more DOAs just from hauling, which was so hard to see early on. We didn't have many birds, and then they were getting damaged in hauling. All those months of bringing them and then hauling to the butcher was causing problems. So frankly, we're pretty proud of how we've learned to haul them without injury to the birds.
That's excellent.
Absolutely.
Now, personal question. Do you have any favorite ways to prepare the turkeys? Do you have a favorite recipe that your family likes to use?
So everybody lets me cook Thanksgiving turkey in the family. So about 6 or 8 years ago, Cooks Illustrated contacted us, and they bought like 4 turkeys. And we were so excited, and we shipped them off. And then we were like, "Oh, what if they don't like them? This could go south really fast." But when the magazine came out, this was America's Test Kitchen, I guess, actually, who bought them. They said they're pricey but worth it, and gave us high marks for a quality product. And in that article, this is how they recommended cooking it, which is you break it down into the component parts and then bake it flat in Pyrex so that it's not this big open cavity with the legs sticking up in the air versus other parts down in the pan. So I historically have always just cut it into parts, lay it flat. we're pretty like whether it's the vegetables or our meats, let the product speak for itself. So we're kind of like salt and pepper. Then I cook it at like 275 or 300 until it's tender. And I can't tell you how long that is. It's just, I don't know. 4 or 5 hours, whatever it takes, depending on the size and how it's packed in there. We have a lot of customers that leave it whole, but they'll cover it in whatever kind of a roasting pan and do it, like say, low and slow. And the people that have learned that don't get in a hurry, just love them. They just melt off the bone, and it's just so flavorful. And you don't need to eat that huge slice of breast meat. It's just so flavorful and wonderful. That
Yeah, I also find you get satisfied on a lot less of that meat than with like a butterball or commercial. That you don't need to eat that much to feel really satisfied.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think you don't get that tryptophan slumber either.
I don't know. I think I still get sleepy. Could be just a mental thing for me.
I think it's the mashed potatoes and sweet potatoes and the gravy and everything else.
You're gonna make me hungry.
Yeah. There's something about cooking turkey that's really gratifying. It really is an event, and I always do the cooking on the holidays, and it really is a pleasant feeling to put all this effort into something that people obviously really enjoy, and that's the beauty of cooking that I love so much, is producing something that's appreciated, and especially I imagine for you as a farmer to enjoy your own product. You're like, I did this.
Yeah.
It's really quite satisfying, and
it is, and the one thing that I like to say is the feedback that we get from customers. They'll say, "My kid said, Mom, what did you do with this turkey?" They don't know any difference, and the kid's just like, "What's going on, Mom? You finally cooked a good turkey," kind of a thing. And, so it's the kids. Kids, of course, will tell you straight.
They will.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that we had a couple of questions out there from the audience. Did you want to bring those up, Brittany?
Yeah, sure. Y'all are making me so excited for Thanksgiving. It's like hands down my favorite holiday. All right, let's see. Gabrielle, thanks for joining us today. We're glad you're here. Gabrielle says, super discussion. Are Narragansetts being raised in several states? Love the one I saw at Mount Vernon.
Yeah, they're really being raised all over. Narragansetts used to be the top breed in the Northeast because that's where they're from originally, Narragansett area of Rhode Island. But they never got super popular across the country. The bronze turkey obviously took that role, but people are rediscovering the Narragansetts, I think, because they're so beautiful to look at. They're like a silver bird with a gold tail and just a really striking bird. And the one at Mount Vernon is getting some girlfriends thanks to Mac here. We have 3 girlfriends waiting to be health tested and head up to Virginia. So Roger's going to have some company soon. Did we have some more questions there? I see.
Yeah, so if anybody else has more questions, go ahead and send them in now. We'd love to answer them. Hi, Jessica. Thanks for joining us today. We're so glad you're here. Jessica says, we raise Narragansetts in Michigan. Typically, we let the hens do the hatching, but that's later in the spring for us in the north. Is there a max weight or age guideline you use for processing? And do you include slower roasting instructions in your info flyer?
So remind me if I get out of order here, but so we gather the eggs daily, have cabinet incubators. So we fill the incubators, and then while the incubator's full during that 28-day period, we actually sell eggs for eating, turkey eggs, and the people that try them love them and come back for more. And then when we need to start saving them for the second hatch, we do. When we first were early on, the birds, the breeding flock, just lived loose in the barn and could roam the farm. And they would go off to make their nest, and we don't know where they are. The scaredest I've ever been as a human being, as a grown man, was trying to take poults away from a Narragansett hen. I had a bucket, and I would kind of try to flail the hen and grab the poult and flail the hen to keep her away and put another poult in the bucket. And I thought, well, no, I can't do this anymore. So we went to confining them to where we could know where the nests were. And it just seems easier on them. The ones that we do know that hatch their own, like I say, they would go hide somewhere. Not many of them live because of predators and stuff, I guess. So we just felt it was more humane to raise them ourselves. Probably the second scaredest I've been is taking eggs out from under a Narragansett hen in the nest box. Leather gloves would be indicated because they are quite protective of their eggs, which I really praise them for. So then it was on processing weight. So what we like to do, like I mentioned, we have some of the smaller birds. So if the butcher's going to hang up 150 birds on a day, if there's 200 birds in the trailer, we just keep handing in the biggest ones for processing. So then at the end of the time, the smallest ones, whether they're toms or hens, are still in the trailer. So that way we're sort of grading them, if you will, as they go into the processor. We kind of look, and you going on age as much as anything, but we like to have that full fat cover on, so they grow their frame, then they put meat on it, and then they put the fat on top of that. So we like them to get to that fully mature, to have that fat content, which some customers are like, "What is that? Turkey's got fat on it." And I say, "Well, yeah, thank you. I'm proud of that." And, they thought it was going bad or something. And I'm not sure exactly which recipes are posted. I know we had the Cook's Illustrated. There's probably 2 or 3 different options. People always ask, should I brine it or not? What we tell people, if it's your first heritage, do exactly what you've ever done to cook a turkey. Let the bird be the only difference, not change everything you know about cooking turkeys, and let them sort of come to their own about how they adjust their own system for the heritage breed. One thing we have noticed, and customer feedback has helped us with this, because of the confirmation that if you're cooking it whole, it does seem to cook faster at the end. So if you're like 2 hours in and you say, oh, well, it's only up to 100 and so many degrees or whatever, as it cooks, it heats up faster at the end. So we tell people to watch it and be more careful. Probably the most common mistake people make is overcooking it at too high of a heat. Mm-hmm. So low and slow, just low and slow until you grab that wing or that leg and it practically falls off. So we always do it the day before, because that can take 5, 6, 7 hours, depending on bird size and ovens and all sorts of things. So it's not like we're going to eat it too. Look at your watch and decide what time to put it in. Do it the day before. We also recommend, in conversation with people, go ahead and bone it out. After you cook it the day before, go ahead and bone it out. Have that presentation. You got that juice in the bottom, pour that juice over it. And then when you reheat it the next day, all that juice just filters into that meat. And I'm like you, Brittany, I'm getting hungry.
I know. Can almost smell it in my kitchen. Like, yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. So it's just, I hear you were telling us yesterday that, there's 6 generations on the farm, and it looks like you're going to have a 7th generation. Is that what I heard correctly yesterday?
Yeah, so it's sixth generation farming family. We have three generations active on the farm now. So my nieces and nephews, hopefully they've shown some interest, and it's a great entryway for small kids. A lot of kids start with sheep or whatever, but the turkeys are something, and it helps them with a little gumption. When it's time to load turkeys or you got to catch one. It's kind of fun and exciting. So hopefully the character and the whole character of bourbon, of the Narragansett and the bourbon reds, is just kind of infectious, if you will.
Oh, that's fabulous to hear. We always worry about, how farmers can pass the torch on, because, a lot of folks today, farming's not the number one career choice. And if you could tell folks what does it for you, why stick in it? It's hard work and around the clock kind of work. Can you tell folks what's the payoff for you in the end?
So it's not the big check that the customer writes at Thanksgiving. It's the words of praise that they have, thanking us for the work and how their family had conversation around the bird. The bird brings the conversation about quality food, and you are what you eat. You are what you eats, that whole thing, to where customers that get it, then at the Thanksgiving table, it's the opportunity to teach the next generation, or teach the brother-in-law that's so brash and doesn't want to listen to anything. The turkey is a way, at the centerpiece, to sort of broaden the conversation of good food. And when I hear those kinds of stories, that's why, checking on the brooder and the snowstorm and all those kinds of things, it's like, then so on top of the customer's acceptance piece, and obviously there's got to be enough money in it to pay all the bills, but when you have live animals in your care, just that the reward of knowing that, I'm sure glad I went over there and closed that door, because the storm came in and they would have chilled. And when you see when you make a mistake and you see animals not perform well, then it's like, okay, I'm never going to do that again. I'll do whatever it takes. And it's just in the farming blood. It's like, my wife and I, for many years, weddings and funerals about the only time we left the farm, because our animals were dependent on us, and our family, lots of extended family, just didn't understand that. And then when they come on a tour or come look around, they go, "Oh, I see why you stayed home."
That's right.
Oh, I don't know if you can hear me, but my camera, there I go.
You're back.
I don't know why that cut me out. Well, this has been really fascinating. And, for folks that happen to be in the area, you said you sell at the local farmers market. If people wanted to get some products from you, where would be the best place to go? You said Cincinnati and Lexington?
Yes. So when COVID came to town, my wife and I personally stopped attending farmers markets. But the farm is still represented by some of our staff. The easiest way is go to elmwoodstockfarm.com and just order online. We'll ship it anywhere in the country, and vegetables and meats, whatever. To meet the staff and get more familiar, the Lexington Farmers Market on Saturday. It's right downtown. It's a big event for Lexington. And then in Cincinnati is at the Hyde Park Farmers Market, which is a wonderful neighborhood of great people that really appreciate food. We've been very welcomed up there those last few years. So, and I miss the farmers market. I don't miss all the work and being away from the farm as much, but I really miss the people and that positive biofeedback. For when COVID hit and we sort of stayed home, it's like all we were hearing was the complaints about, oh, you forgot this in my order or something, the packaging. But now it's with our e-newsletter and all the different things that we do. We feel like we can do a better job of farming and a better job of customer service with all the electronic options that are available.
Mm-hmm. Well, fabulous. Well, thank you so much for coming on the program and sharing your experiences with the Narragansetts. And it's really gratifying to hear the efforts of a farm being so successful, and especially with poultry, because it can be a challenge to with marketing and with selling them at a price that actually covers your costs and pays you a salary. A lot of folks forget about that. And, I can appreciate the amount of work that you've obviously put into marketing the farm and educating your customers. And it's not easy work, but kudos to you. And Brittany, do we have any closing remarks or?
Yes, so we'll do our shameless plug. If you're looking to find more information about Mac and the Elmwood Stock Farm and the turkeys, you can go to his website. That's elmwoodstockfarm.com/turkeys. And if you want to find them on Facebook and Instagram, you can look at all the beautiful photos, and that's at Elmwood Stock Farm. Mac, is there anything else you want to plug about the farm or anything in general?
No, I just want to plug the Conservancy and the work that you all do. I've kind of, since I've quit running on the weekends to the farmers markets and sort of settled back home, I'm getting more into trying to reach out and so I just appreciate your all's work. We're so excited about those birds going to Mount Vernon. I can't tell you. It's just like all these years and all those trips to the brooder and all this other stuff. It's like, wow, that's really cool that we started with 6, and I was fortunate enough to be able to donate 3 to Mount Vernon. So that's just awesome, and keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you for that. That's such a great testimonial. And thank you for all of your hard work. That's amazing. Such an amazing story. And if you want to learn more about the Livestock Conservancy and how to become a member, you can go to our website. That's livestockconservancy.org. Supporting the Livestock Conservancy helps support farmers and stewards of heritage turkeys and other heritage animals like Mac here.
Fill out your survey.
Yes.
Yes, anybody that's growing turkeys out there, our poultry census is coming to a close. And if you're breeding any of the breeds on our conservation priority list or APA recognized large fowl and bantams with no large fowl counterpart, we want to hear from you. We've been working the better part of this year on census, and we're winding down. And so if you have breeding birds, please go to our website and you can find the poultry census information. It's really easy to do. It's just a Survey Monkey. It'll take you all of 5 minutes to do it, and your birds will be counted. So please do visit us and get your birds counted.
Absolutely. Thank you for that great reminder. And yeah, it takes 5 minutes. It'll help us determine future conservation efforts. So it's vitally important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also on the website, we have free for download Raising Heritage Turkeys for the Holiday Market and Breeding Your Best, which is a guideline to how to select the best birds for your breeding program. So that's all free for download on our turkey pages as well.
Yes, please check those out. All right. Well, I think that's it from us this week. We'll be back next week. We were interviewing, do you remember his name, Jeanette, about the new turkey?
It's the new Heritage Turkey Conservancy. It's going to be an interview with Tom, who has organized this group, and he will be talking about the new organization for people raising standard bred turkeys. And he's very excited about getting things organized, and with the main goal of, during the 150th anniversary of celebrating 150 years of APA, they want to try and have the biggest turkey show ever. So we're going to try and help them with that, and we'll have a nice chat with them next week. And yeah, we're going to celebrate turkeys.
Yay. Yes, that's Tom Mozina from Patriot Poultry.
Yes.
So he's very excited. We're very excited. There'll be more turkeys next week. We hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you very soon. Bye.
Thank y'all.
Bye.